Everyone, welcome. Welcome to today's, I wouldn't like to say final session of our eco footprinting webinar, because I'm sure we'll have something in future again, maybe this year, maybe not this year, but we'll have to see how the appetite goes for this type of workshop. So before we do anything else, I'm going to ask Lydia Peterson to open us up with a prayer.
I've got
You are on mute, Lydia.
okay. Good morning, everybody. I have a very unstable connection here. I just hope that everybody is fine, and let us pray. Father, dear God in heaven, creator of heaven and earth, I come before you humbly this morning, my God, to seek your face, to seek your reverence. I pray that whatever we decide for today on this platform, that it would be pleasing unto you. I ask for wisdom. I ask for patience. I ask that whatever we discuss, that we will go forth in our faith community to glorify your name in the work that we do. I ask all these things in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen. Thank you very much, Lydia. I know I caught you off guard, but I appreciate that you are always so willing. Sorry, people are asking me for the link. So thank you very much. It's good to see familiar faces and people coming back, wanting to learn, wanting to share about their experiences and their work, and learning more from Kim, obviously, who was our expert. Yeah, we have received quite a few, well, not even a few, just under 200 RSVPs for today's session, and we're only at 19. So I guess that there are quite a few people that doesn't have, that is struggling with either connection or is running a bit late. I have received messages that people are running late. So that's fine. We're expecting quite a few people. So welcome from SAFCEI, and we hope that you are all well. Yeah, as I'm going to hand over to Kim just to do a recap of what we did in July for the 3 weeks on energy, water, and waste. And I must acknowledge those faith leaders that have also contributed to the webinars for the 3 themes and the experiences. And I see my Reverend Mugambo is here as well. Thank you, Rev, for coming again. There's just 2 things, house rules, if I would call it that. I see that I'm letting someone in with just 2 equal marks, and we don't equal signs, and we don't know who that is. So the importance of your name being on your Zoom account is really important to us. One, because we need to know who you are, who we are speaking to, so that we can see who joins us all the time. Then the most important one is that a lot of people are requesting data. And we'd like to see, if you're requesting data, did you come to the session? Otherwise, we wouldn't know that. That is not only for accounting purposes, but also to see who is interested in which workshop or which program. So please, if your name is not on your screen, please change your Zoom account name to your name and surname preferably, but we can sometimes see by the name, or email. Some have their email addresses, and I'll just write a reminder in the group as well. If you don't know how to do that, please also let us know in the chat group, and we can change it for you so we can see who it comes from, and we can change your names ourselves. So I cannot reiterate more how important that is for us. So I'll be saying that all the time if I see that there is someone's names that I can't see. So we have Nokia 2.2. I don't know who uses a Nokia 2.2. And so we need to see your name. Please write your name either in the chat box so we can change it, or change your own name as well. So we've been having issues with not seeing who's on the call. So thank you very much. I'll hand over to Kim to do a wrap up. A wrap up. Sorry, I'm already done with the webinar. To do a recap. Hi, Kim.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay. Hello, everybody. It's good to have you all back again. And I am going to be doing a recap, so there will be quite a bit of repetition, but I'm not going to repeat everything, so we won't get bored. But I'd just like to start off with a story, because the basis of today's talk is, oh, maybe I should put my share screen on just for this first part. Hi, sorry. The whole reason that we're together today is actually to share our experiences after the previous webinars, when we learned a whole lot of different techniques and approaches. And during those webinars, you already identified things that were happening in your communities. So I'd just like to share a story first before I show you my PowerPoint. I'm sure most of us have heard of Elon Musk, who actually was born in South Africa and is now considered American. The significance of that is that we think that all things come from very specific places, all development and technology, but every single technical thing that has been developed to date has been built on layers and layers of history with clever people from every corner of the world. Elon Musk calls his company Tesla, and Tesla was a brilliant Serbian electrical engineer who has been completely forgotten about. But without him, without his technology, Elon Musk wouldn't be the billionaire that he is today. Let's not go that route of being a billionaire when his acknowledged mission is to provide us with affordable energy. But so with all these clever technical people all around the world who've contributed to what we now consider to be sort of energy heroes, there's a serious missing ingredient, and I really believe that can come from Africa. You all know the word Ubuntu, specifically in South Africa, but I think it has a global understanding. There's another word, Ukama, which has a similar meaning. It's about building relationships. And with our clever technology, we have disconnected ourselves from people, and we've disconnected ourselves from nature. And I really believe this is where faith communities have a very strong role to play. We need to get back to the values of Ubuntu, of Ukama, because otherwise our technology is going to destroy us. And we can see that in terms of global warming, in terms of pollution, all sorts of things. So using our very clever technology without the lens of Ubuntu and Ukama is going to sadly be the end of human civilization. I'm sorry to start off on that negative note, but actually I think it's a positive, because this community that I'm speaking to right now is all about Ubuntu and Ukama. So it's your message that needs to go out there, to saying we have to use our clever technology for the well-being of everybody and for all of creation, not just the humans in the creation. So with that little introduction, I'd like to quickly go through the PowerPoint. I think most of you have received the different ones. So this one is now a collection of all three put together. As I said, I did leave some slides out so that I'm not going to be the only one speaking this morning, because I'm really looking forward to hearing about all the projects that you are bringing together. And I'll repeat it again, but a theme that has come out through all of these webinars is how can we share the learning? So this is what today is about, is sharing the learning. I'm going to, sorry, it's going to take me, I'm just going to widen this so I can see share screen. Oh, yeah, Zainab, can you let me share screen and then I can upload my PowerPoint? Or Chloe, sorry.
No, I have, it is on multiple sharing, so it's fine.
Good. Okay, are you starting to see that? I'll go into.
Yeah, it's on.
Great, I'll go into slideshow so that I can, so you don't see all the other clutter. Right, so I'm sure you remember this very first slide. Are we living in a healthy relationship with nature? And how do we live so that we can balance our needs, physical and spiritual, with the Earth's ability to provide for us, and not only us, but the rest of God's creation? And then a reminder that the more pressure we put on the Earth is a finite planet. So a whole lot of the resources, as we know, fossil fuels, one of the resources that is limited in terms of human lifetimes. It took billions and billions and billions of years for plant matter to break down into fossil fuel, and we're using it as fast as we can in just over 100 years. So the Earth has limited resources, and we have increasing demands, and somewhere we need to find a balance. And these are what these webinars are about, is understanding that we need to live in balance with the Earth's ability to provide for our spiritual and physical needs. And the webinars are called an eco footprint, because an eco footprint is a way that each individual can look at our different lifestyle choices, our different material choices, the foods we buy, the clothes we buy, the appliances we buy. What is the energy, water, and material footprint in every single one of those? And are there choices that have less of a demand on the environment? And if we collectively carry on not making those choices, we will leave no space for nature. And remember, there are over 7.8 billion of us, all with dreams to have a comfortable, good lifestyle. But we need to consume with care so that nature can repair. Then specifically to faith communities, does nature have rights too? What does your faith say about the human-nature relationship? And I enjoy this Hindu statement that says, there is no life, and I can't see the screen because there's no life that is inferior. All lives enjoy the same importance and play their fixed roles. And this is specifically as it was created. Every creature in the world has a role to play for the balance of life. So, oops, sorry. So how can we be the change? There are a whole lot of aspects, and we need to start off with values. Which of my values and my attitudes support living in balance with nature? We move to energy. Do I know where my energy comes from? And how can I use it with care? How can I be energy efficient? Where does my water come from? And how can I use it efficiently? Where does my food come from? Is it local? Is it ethically farmed? And then waste. How do I reduce the amount of waste I produce? And where does that waste go? So energy, water, and then waste as a byproduct are in absolutely everything that we do. We need energy to pump and purify water, and to build our buildings, to produce our food, our books, our appliances, and all these things contain energy, water, and raw materials. And sadly, they all produce waste. So we need to look at the entire system if we want to reduce our impact or our eco footprint on the world. Let's look more closely at energy. And I know you've seen this slide before. I hope I'm not going too quickly, but because you've seen it, I am going quite quickly. So historically, we used to use animal labor, also human labor, and dung, wood and charcoal, and this caused, well, slavery in terms of human labor, also soil damage and deforestation. Then with fossil fuel, we managed to ratchet up human material development and progress very, very, very quickly. Unfortunately, because we didn't do this in a sense of Ubuntu or Ukama, we ended up with pollution, climate change, and fossil fuels not renewables. So we're going to be forced to find alternatives, even without the climate change considerations. So what we need to look at, an overconsumption of energy has caused inefficiency, and huge material luxury that is incredibly wasteful. So what are the alternatives? We need green energy with efficient appliances. We need reduced fossil fuel only for essential services, and transport probably still have to rely on fossil fuel for a while to come. It's easier to convert electrical energy to renewables. And then we can use, in the past, where we used wood and charcoal and animal dung, we can use these products sustainably, specifically by managing harvesting, replanting, and by using biogas. This slide are the issues that you guys identified in the energy webinar. So I'd just like to go through them because they actually create the lens that is locally relevant when we look at solutions to managing energy efficiency and looking at energy alternatives that are appropriate for us. So people identified a very strong link between poverty and the use of wood and charcoal. They're saying, how do we address poverty and how do we mainstream efficient cooking technologies? Then just to take some examples, nearly 90% of the Malawian population, and these are ones that you identified in the chat, nearly 90% of the Malawian population is forced by their low economic base to use the natural endowment for energy. And this is where it's unfortunately not renewable, for food, for construction materials, medicine, and fodder. Nearly 60% of charcoal is produced in protected areas, such as forest reserves and national parks. This is an indication of how, and I'm using this Malawian example, but it's happening across the world, so we're not pointing fingers here. Charcoal is coming from so-called protected areas, which means that we're intruding into nature's space, and we need nature to provide us with all these services. And nature needs space for itself as well. In Uganda, similarly, there are issues with firewood and charcoal being the main fuel for cooking. Then again, the issue of poverty and being raised, and saying, how can we deal with environmental destruction when poverty is the big issue? And what is the root cause of poverty? They're very directly linked, but unfortunately, poverty creates environmental destruction, not only poverty. We know that from affluent communities, they have massive environmental destruction. But if you are in a poor community and you destroy the local environment, it means that your wealth is also destroyed, so you stay in the poverty cycle. To change the mindset to use alternatives is going to be a challenge. Then deforestation is our main problem, as we then have no protection from climate change. This question, how can mere Malawians use cooking on charcoal? Used to cooking on charcoal, where they're going to get the skills from to use other sources of energy? Then the great positive that came out of this from you, we have to implement small changes with big impact and possible quick outcomes. Fuel efficient stoves, wonder bags, briquettes, and biogas digester stoves were some of the examples that you used. And this, how can mere Malawians I just have to say this goes back to what the first story I told you about, how Elon Musk built on a Serbian electrical engineer's technology, who'd built on maths from BC that the Western world uses, which actually came from Arabian civilizations. So we all build on each other, and the point is to share and to learn by sharing. There's no such thing as a mere Malawian or a mere anybody. We can all learn and share. This is just a quick graphic representation. So right now we're in a destructive cycle, and I've used the examples that came out through the webinar on energy as the example for here, which is limited access to modern energy technology means high use of charcoal and wood, resulting in deforestation, soil erosion and flooding, and reduced economic opportunities as you destroy the natural endowment. On the alternative side, the solutions are energy efficiency and appropriate alternative energy methods, planting trees, environmental recovery, which leads to resilience to droughts and floods, and new economic activities. There was a lot of interest in the wireless cooker or the Wonder Bag seen over here in the bottom corner, but it's very easy to make your own. It used to be called a hot box, and it's literally a cardboard or wooden box with your pot in the middle. You can use newspapers for padding all around the sides and the base, and then you use cushions or a blanket to cover the pot. This keeps the heat in. And so once you brought the food to the boil, you put it in here, and it carries on cooking for different periods of time, depending on how on what kind of food you are using. But once you've taken it off the stove and put it in there, and you only need it on the stove for a few minutes, it carries on cooking without any energy at all, and you can see how easy it is to make. So these are alternatives. Traditionally in Africa, there are quite a few of these clay stoves that literally can cook with pieces of cardboard or twigs, so you don't need to chop down whole trees. And these are some of the rocket stoves that you can buy in different shops, which also use cardboard twigs to focus heat up to the top and for quick and efficient cooking. But when we're starting to look at alternative technologies like renewable energy, we really need a community response. And this is where faith communities can come in, because faith communities represent a big group of people, and it's easier for them to lobby for the authorities for this kind of energy, also to develop partnerships with private energy providers. And there are a lot of them throughout Africa who are involved with, sorry, I don't know what, trying to get rid of this phone call. And there are a lot of private energy providers who are providing energy called microgrids to communities. And then we're hoping we get to hear from Lydia at some stage in the future about cooking with biodigesters. To go on to water, water more than anything else connects us to the web of life. So when we look after water, we look after all life. The water cycle and the life cycle of one. You can see drinking water, water for food, fishing, water for agriculture, and of course, water for nature. So your water footprint is the amount of water you use directly every single day. But remember, it also includes the water that was used to produce your food, your clothes, books, appliances, and our energy. So these are the issues that came up at the previous webinar. And the story that the message I liked was use water more than once, and the final use should be in the garden. So this is the ultimate message in water efficiency. Then Tendai gave us many very interesting tips on using water efficiently. And Andrew spoke about water efficient appliances such as low flow shower heads and low flush toilets. you also identified issues around water quality. So it's not only about how much water we have, but because of pollution, we have poor water quality in many communities. Then lots of water saving tips were shared. And then stories about communities improving catchment management, planting trees, and improving sanitation. Many water-wise gardening tips about how to irrigate with reduced water, and using urine as like a manure because it keeps the ground moist, how to use basin irrigation for crops, and prepare rain harvesting tanks so that you can store water in the rainy season for use at a later stage. And of course, the big issue, just like energy, people do not have access to clean water, or many people do not have access to clean water. Again, this is possibly where communities can come in, such as this community rainwater tank and a faith center that put in a borehole with a pump. Also, related to the energy and deforestation, dry areas without vegetation dry out. They lose their topsoil and they slowly become deserts. And history has many stories of how deforestation has caused deserts and destroyed past civilizations, with people having to leave their homelands to move to other areas. So this shows you how vegetation keeps the moisture in the region, and then if it's very dry, the hot sun dries up the moisture and it doesn't rain. And of course, when you do plant, you then create a whole new economy around the things that have been planted. Then this is also important. It seems to be so easy just to put in a borehole and pump out the groundwater, but we mustn't pump out more than we put in, because rain filters into the ground over years, decades, sometimes hundreds of years. And if we extract that water too quickly, then we will not have boreholes we will not have water from the ground in the future. And on the right-hand side, you can see how you can create basins to catch rainwater so that it soaks into the ground and doesn't just run away. And then some reminders about energy efficiency. Toilets use a huge amount of drinking water usually. So displace the system with a brick or a bottle so that you flush with less water. Use a bucket for a bath or a shower, a short shower. And here, use a basin for rinsing water so that you can then reuse that water in the garden, or for washing windows or the floors or something else. And then be careful of polluting our precious water. What we put into the environment comes back to us. And this is an example of a household using nasty poisons, chemicals, that ultimately goes into the groundwater, ultimately into the streams, and then ends up through the purification system back into our tap. Our purification systems are not able to get rid of all of the modern chemicals. They weren't designed for all of our modern chemicals. So that is how what we put into the environment comes back to us. And then sometimes in rural communities without proper sanitation, you can see this is a pit latrine where, because it's not in a proper biodigester process, you end up with the medicine that people take going into the system, and also some of the viruses and bacteria. And if it's too close to a well, then unfortunately those poisons get into the drinking water. So again, we need community-based plans to deal with some of the big issues. We can be very careful at home about how to save water, but to deal with the big issues like community sewage disposal, we need a community approach. I just want to quickly remind you of the Langrug community, which is an informal settlement area in the Western Cape part of South Africa. And before, they didn't have proper wastewater disposal. So they did have communal toilets, but in terms of all the other wastewater, the washing water, They just used to put that into little channels that they dug themselves into in the street to take it away from the houses. And this is what it looks like. And this is a map of what it looked like. So here they created all these channels to get it away from the houses. This is the settlement up here. And these channels naturally flowed into the local rivers, streams, and into the big river. And this big river was the irrigation system for a whole lot of fruit farms, which exported fruit. And then there were issues with the quality of the fruit because it was contaminated, which had implications for the workers on the farms, and the workers on the farms lived in this community. So it was a very unfortunate problem that actually turned into an employment problem as well. So what did the community do? That with the help of some water experts, they put in plant filter beds along the drainage canals that they'd created. And they also planted trees, and the plants and the trees, so the different kinds of plants and the trees, broke down the chemicals, absorbed all the nutrients, and the river was no longer polluted. And this is a picture of the people themselves planting the trees. Let's get on to waste. This is the last section. Right, so Earth to the rest of us. Please clean up your mess. Love Mother Earth. Nature knows no waste, so why do we? There are eco laws for not wasting. And I'll read them quickly. Everything is interconnected. Wasting one thing is wasting everything. There's no such place as a way. Everywhere on Earth is a place with people and nature's creatures that need pollution-free environments to thrive. Nature knows no waste, everything is recycled. The opposite of this is the bad stuff that people put into the environment returns to us as polluted water, polluted air, polluted soil. And then a zero waste lifestyle is a life lived with gratitude and appreciation for the abundance of creation. And that should be the value that we all strive toward. This is an example of a traditional waste disposal. We chuck it, somebody picks it up eventually. And so what was a problem can actually be an opportunity. And Cele of Cape Town says this best of all. There's no such thing as waste. It's simply material that you have not yet figured out how to use. We need to recognize the abundance in what we throw away. Then these are the issues identified at the waste workshop. The issues that you identified are waste collection is generally a problem. Governments are slow to act, so communities need to step in. Let's take responsibility as private citizens and make sure we manage waste to save lives. The biggest task is sorting waste into different categories. Environmental impacts of not separating, there are huge environmental impacts of not separating waste at source, and also it's very hard to recycle when everything's all mixed up. And the waste pickers who do then try and separate everything from a big landfill site have huge health risks. People still dig pits or burn waste. Incineration creates poisonous gases, especially from burning plastic, and waste spills into rivers, lakes, and the sea. Some governments are starting to ban some plastic. And then you had so many interesting ideas about alternatives to plastic and options to recycle. I'm really hoping they're going to come out again later on today as well. Somebody said to us that in Malawi, we're trying to work with the church youth to clean our district council and to teach people about the problems with bad waste management. We were also told at the workshop that recycling organic into compost provides a natural alternative to chemical fertilizers, and you don't have to buy it because we all produce organic waste. Then Lydia is shortly going to build another biodigester for educational usage and share with all of us. I really think a biodigester is a good system because it deals with waste and it also provides us with energy. Then the question, what opportunities can we explore in growing cities in Uganda, in renewable energy and green jobs for young people? how can Uganda twin with institutions in Cape Town and other cities? So this question, how can Uganda twin, is a question that I've mentioned a few times, is that we can all twin with each other to share our learning. So looking at the hierarchy of waste, at the worst is to dispose. Right at the top is to reduce our consumption for unnecessary stuff and unnecessary packaging. Then reuse, repair, fix household things, share. Does everybody in the street need a lawnmower? Maybe that's not a particularly good example, but there's so many things where everybody has one. But if we operate as communities, in Europe, for example, people are starting to share cars. So a group of friends buy a car, and then they do luckily have public transport to get to work. But at least if they want to go away on a weekend, then they take turns using the car. Collect and separate all the different components, plastic, metal, paper, so that they can be easily recycled into new products. And then there are lots of materials like bricks, buttons, electronic parts that can be recovered and used to make new parts or used to repair other things. We talked a lot about plastic. It's becoming a big health issue because we've just found out that it breaks down into microparticles that are getting into our food. There is good news about alternatives. At the moment, these are plastic alternatives made with sugar cane, not the actual sugar part, but all the cellulose from the stalks. And it's still quite expensive, but as the technology improves, it will be a good replacement for plastic. And it breaks down into, you can put it on the compost heap and it breaks into natural products. I'm almost at the end. So looking back at how do we reduce our footprint? Be the change. Think about the impact of our choices and choose less impactful ones. Choose efficiency and essential, not excess. And each one teach one. Then this was the story that I shared in the very first session, and I really going to share it again. Sorry. This is the difference between humanity and the rest of the animal kingdom, is that and Margaret Mead, a anthropologist, said the very first sign that humans, the very first sign of human civilization wasn't clever technology, but the evidence of compassion. She found a broken and healed thigh bone in an ancient grave. If an animal in nature breaks a bone, it dies. But this human leg bone that had been broken and then healed showed that someone else had taken the time to care for their family until they had healed. So our behavior, not our technology, will decide our future, our value system. Information shows us what to do, values motivate us to do. And here you can see the value system where we thought that we were on top of creation, and that everything else was subservient to us. Now we understand that we're actually interconnected with all of creation. So we need to shift from the eco to the ego. And the only way that's going to happen is if we start to consider the rest of creation with love and compassion. Thank you. I do believe that communities of faith working together can start a tidal wave of change for a better world for all of us. Thank you, everybody. I look forward to hearing what you all have to say about different examples of how we can use energy, water better, and how we can manage waste. Back to you, Zainab.
Thank you very much, Kim. That was a fantastic overview of the last 3 weeks that we did. So thank you for including everything. I'd just like to say I always love the first slide. That picture on the first slide speaks volumes. I love that picture, and I love the way you drew the heart over the eco centers eco picture. whatever that is.
I can show, there's a little thingy I do with my hands. I can show you if we go, oh, can you see? Oh, there you go. Look at that. That's the pyramid with humanity, with mankind at the top. And that's the pyramid that's creating the problem. And
yes.
it's not that easy, but if you change it, you see we have to change. You have to change it to a heart. And it requires
so you just have to turn it around.
different perspective, not that
Exactly.
perspective, this perspective. And
exactly.
then, yeah.
And it speaks to, I think it speaks to interpretation as well.
Yeah.
How you interpret the sign. If you just do it upside down, it just changes everything.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
That's right.
So thank you very much for that. I did see, sorry, I'm doing multiple things while I'm here. There was a question from Lydia. Lydia, I'm trying to get it. A question from Kim, a question for Kim. Are the boreholes dependent on aquifers?
Okay, so the simple answer to that is yes. A borehole is dependent on an aquifer, and some aquifers are fed by strong underground streams, and some are like an underground lake where water is trapped on a layer of rock and can't sink further down. So a well point is like a very shallow borehole, and those can dry up quite quickly because they're very close to the surface. So is a borehole dependent on an aquifer? It depends on the borehole, on if the borehole is close to a natural underground stream. And all of our rivers, the water we see on the surface is only part of the flow. It's a little bit like an iceberg. So the water actually flows above the ground and then also in the sand underneath the river as well. So boreholes close to, not in the water, but close to the sides of rivers would not be they would be in the local water table rather than in a deep aquifer. I don't know if that helped, but so boreholes get water from different underground sources. And depending on the underground source, it can be a non-renewable resource or not.
Yeah, no, that's clear. Thank you very much, Lydia. Just send me a hand or something if that was clear to you. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, so we'll move on. Just to, thanks, Lydia. Just to check again, I have been letting people in. And I see, like I said earlier on, please change your name to, on your Zoom screen, there's a 1FM2T, whatever, someone there who we don't see your name, so we don't know who it is. And then there is a Hawaii P8 Light 2017. Please, you change your name on the Zoom, your Zoom screen, so we know who you are. And we know who has joined us in the room. We are on 49 people. We're still expecting lots more. I'm not sure if network is the problem or, yeah, people have just forgotten that we are doing something today. I'm just going to check on the speakers. I know that Lydia is here and Ahia, I have seen you greeting, welcome. And so thank you very much, Kim, for the recap of the last 3 weeks. We're going to move on. We have asked people if they wanted to present their work on the 3 themes that we did, and we're going to start with energy. Then we'll move on to water and then waste. So we'll do our energy presentations first. And this includes work that you are doing in your community, in your country, because obviously the context would be different and others could learn from you and you could share your work as well. It is an opportunity to share your work. So we're gonna go with Ahia Norman. Norman, Ahia, are you with us? Hiya here.
Yes, I'm getting you.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. What about you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ahia, do you want me to open up your presentation?
Yes, we will do it. Hey, minute.
Okay, your network is very bad. Your network is very bad. Our Huawei P8 Lite, please, could you change your name? Oh, I don't see Ahia. No.
Hi Zainab, Ahia is still on
Hi.
the
Okay. I'll just share. Let me
Ever
open
his
up.
line breaks, maybe he will switch off his camera to save bandwidth and then he'll sound clear.
Yeah. Ahia, are you ready for us?
Yes, I'm getting you. Should I start right now?
Yes, please. Would it be easier for you, as Chloe said, to switch off your camera so we can hear your voice on the presentation, and then you can save on bandwidth as well, then your network won't be so bad.
Okay.
Okay. So you can start.
Yeah, the presentation is all about how we can get energy from waste. I understand that we all have waste at our households, in our cities, in our districts, and then our countries. So we are working on this initiative to see how we can try to produce energy from waste. First, as you are looking on the chart there is how energy has been distributed in Lilongwe, meaning that those people who are living in the city are the ones who have high access of electricity. And we have also people in Lilongwe who are living in suburban areas, in rural areas. These people are living in congested places, but they don't have access to electricity. So down there, you can see the graph that shows demand and supply of electricity, because we get electricity from ESCOM, which is a governmental company helping people using hydropower currents to make sure that people are getting the energy. So looking at how supply and demand is, you can see biomass is the first source of energy that people use here in Lilongwe. So you can also see that coal, petroleum, hydrant, sorry, both are being used, but they are not even environmental healthy, and they are not even healthy to human beings, but still more because of lacking of any other alternative source of energy. That's why we are still clinging on biomass, using petroleum and energy from hydropower. But when you see the access of solar panel energy, and you see other means like wind produced energy, and you look at biogas energy, you found that these alternative source of energy are not even there, like the way the graph has been plotted. So moving down, one source of energy that are very, very familiar here. People use charcoal as a source of energy, and others use firewood as another source of energy here within the Lilongwe city and the district, meaning that those people those people who are living in suburban areas, those people who are living in rural areas have no access to electricity as it is simply here. So they use this alternative source of energy like charcoal and firewood. Moving down, you see other source of energy here that are being used like hydropower, solar panels, oil and petroleum. And you can also see that people use also biomass as a source of energy. So looking at this source of energy, it's very important, but still more we can see some distractions in our environment. We can see that our land have been polluted, water sources been polluted, air been polluted. So all of these are making our environment not healthy and safe to human beings. So moving forward, you see that people have started initiating the use of solar panel initiative to make sure that they can use energy, but it's still a very growing field that people are not even taking a glance on that. So you see that we mainly use biomass and energy from hydropower like electricity. And downward here you can see the effects of source of energy on our environment. There is a deforestation, and our trees have been cut down. We are facing issues of droughts, floods, and regions. These are all the effects of making people get the energy they want, kind of energy they are looking for. You can see soil is also being polluted, air being polluted, land being polluted, water. So now the environment is not even unlivable and sustainable to the future generation. So this is something very paining, and something that is causing panic because we can see damages all around within the district and the country as a whole. So downward here, you can see use of energy in long way. We use energy for cooking, transportation, industrial production, lighting, heating, leisure, and business activities. But among all these sources, we use biomass. We use electricity from hydropower. These are very, very damaging the environment, meaning that our environment is not protected as it was. The nature is now being deteriorated. So we are living in an environment that cannot even sustain and maintain human beings. So looking upon this tragedy, looking upon this catastrophe and its effect, we said, no, we shouldn't be doing things like this. Why can't we use waste that have been produced at a household level in our towns, at sites, and other sources of waste, and they try to generate energy using those waste. So this is the initiative we are working on. We are making sure that we can use biogas as a source of energy. So we take waste, especially kitchen waste, those that are biodegradable waste, and we put them in an aerobic digester. So during the process of turning this waste into manure, these they are good bacteria there that helps in the process of turning this waste into manure. So when this process is taking place, we have gas which is produced. So we try to make sure that we are harvesting this kind of gas, and after its harvest, we make sure that that gas is kept somewhere and can be used for cooking, can be used for all activities that require energy for a sustainable life and environment. So we use the degradable waste to produce combustive gas that gives you energy, meaning that when we are using this waste, meaning that we get methane and carbon dioxide, and these are gases that are very useful in producing energy. So we use them, and this is very important because it helps us not to destroy our forest, to get woods and charcoal for energy production. And its aftermath, we found ourselves in a position of not polluting our land, air, soil, and water. So this is something very important that I would urge you guys to get committed to and start doing it as we are doing it. So we are planning to set up plants in the whole district to make sure that people can generate energy using waste products, waste materials at the household level, so that we can stay away from destroying our environment. So let's get committed, let's work together. We have alternative source of energy that does not destroy the environment. Thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahia. I wasn't sure, I must admit, I wasn't sure if I had to move the slides, but I'll just move the slides just so that people could see the images. So there we are at the end.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm a very bad slide person, slide presser. I do see that there are questions. Zinus, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I do see your hand. We are going to do, we are going to go to Lydia now. And then after that, because they're the only two presenters. Oh, Lydia's only coming in now. There's a mic that's on. Sorry, let me just mute that. We are waiting for Lydia to come in again, and then we will go to the questions. Check if there's any questions. Hi, Lydia. Lydia, are you back? Chloe, do you see Lydia?
Hi Zainab. So Lydia actually contacted me and she has expressed that she's currently experiencing connectivity issues, but she's trying to.
Okay, I did let her in again. I just wanted to check if she, okay, she's back. Lydia, do you want me to share your presentation?
Yes, please. That would be wonderful.
Okay, I don't know. There's two pictures, so I don't know where you want me to start.
Yes. Anyone, it doesn't matter. I'll
Okay,
go.
cool. There we go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I have to attribute my fascination with the cooker bag to Kim, really. I met her quite a few years ago, also at a SAFCEI event, and that time she was introducing me to this alternative way of cooking, and we never got back to chatting about it. But today, I would like to introduce this to many people that do not know about this. Um, I have started off, I think, about 2 years ago, um, making these bags as well as introducing it at feeding schemes. And for me, it was a joy to see how many people can actually save time, um, also on energy, on electricity, as well as cooking time. And as you see on there, I have um, started off, and I put the time also on the pictures that I've taken. And it says that the cooking time for this stew is just a plain basic meal. It took me about an hour. And it is the simple way of starting the meal on the stove, take about 3 minutes to heat up completely, and then you can transfer it into the bag. And approximately an hour later, you can check up on it intermittently as to see if everything is still okay. Is there still enough water on it? You can add a little bit of water if that is the case. But um, while the food is cooking in that cooker bag, it produces its own water within the pot. So I didn't add any water whilst making this meal. I put in everything, I spiced it up, like I also explained on there, and then from there on, within an hour, your meal is completed. I did the very same thing with the rice. I washed it completely. I added the salt. I put it in the pot, brought it to the boil for about less than 2 minutes. Also transferred to the bag, and that water that was still in there, it's like 2 cups of water, just to cover the rice. That made it completely within also 20 minutes or so. So the pictures is self-explanatory. There is dates and times on there, so you can actually see as to how long it took to prepare the meal and to cook it as well. I hope that will be able to assist people. I can also do the video, but I thought of time constraints. It will be a long video of about an hour long. So I thought of taking the pictures and make it self-explanatory. I hope that everybody got it. I have network problems galore on this side.
No, you were perfect. Thank you very much. Your network was great.
I prayed.
No, it's great. Just on the Wonder Bag front, I use mine religiously, and I have a mouse in my cupboard, so so that was something the mouse ate on last week. So I have to get a new one. But
Yes.
I love my Wonder Bag. So thank you very much for that. I actually thought you were going to do the biogas digester
No, that
presentation.
is coming. That is coming.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Thank you.
What I can add on that about the biodigester, I'm gathering all the materials for that, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it as simple as possible, whereas it won't cost whoever is going to install it like an arm and a leg. So
Yeah.
I actually I went to a dumping site here in Strandfontein, and
Mm-hmm.
I've collected most of the things there. I'm just short of a drum. That's it. So then I will start on that as well.
Okay. Okay, cool.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
we're
at your
looking for no, I'm looking at I wasn't sure what kind of drum you're talking about because I'm looking at the drum in my yard, but we can speak
Okay.
about that offline.
Okay, cool.
I am just trying to see if we do have any questions. I have asked people, 5 people to do presentations on energy, 5 of waste and 5 of water. And so far, only Ahia and Lydia has presented, and I haven't received other presentations. So now we'll move on to questions. I'll just read the comments. I'll just read the comments quickly. Very educative presentation from Chaplain. Sorry, I can't see the surname because it hides in the chat box. Left everything in our hands after creating the earth, believing mankind who are above all privity will take care of it. Indeed, we need to change on how we treat our Mother Earth. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, Edson, I wasn't sure about the slides changing. Okay, it's mostly comments. And then a question from Kim about the biogas digester that we didn't do. From Annex, Ahia, are you there? Ahia? Ahia, I do see you. You need to answer this question, please. Okay, I'm
Yes,
going to read out the, I'm going to read out the question. Ahia, what are the safety concerns regarding storage of the gas from the digesters? What is the adoption rate of that technology? To what extent has the initiative, sorry, I need to reduce uptake of forest products such as firewood?
Yeah, the issue is that the uptake of this technology is still young, but it's really growing because we are conducting awareness campaign on this issue. So as we are making sure that we are managing waste, we are calling people to manage waste at the household level, moving within our community, engaging students, engaging community leaders and members, those people who are concerned in these issues. We are disseminating the message, and we are making sure that people are well informed so that they can make a decision on this issue. But the issue of safety means that the digester itself is connected to the material that we use to harvest the gas. So meaning that whenever we are making sure that those waste are in the digester, and those bacteria that are there are trying to decompose those waste, and a gas is produced. So there is a pipe which is connected to the biodigester, which takes that gas directly to the material that we use to keep that gas.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I do see. Oh. Could I just ask people, please, if you are not speaking, to mute your mics, because it becomes a distraction for us wanting to see who's here and wanting to listen to people. Otherwise, we're going to have to check who it is and then mute people. Okay. So if that's it, is there any more questions? You can put up your hand and we can do that quickly before we move on to water, the water presentations. Before we move on to the water presentations, is there anyone with a question? Kim?
Yes, that technology sounds amazing, Aya. I know that Lydia's working on something similar. Can you share the design details? Is it something that communities can build themselves, or do we need to employ a company to do it? You on mute, Aya.
That much educated on this issue, so it's like we are educating these people that we are trying to get waste waste that generating energy away. So we are disseminating the information, and we are practically trying to involve people of interest, and that we are trying to involve community members and leaders. We are including people leaders, community, so that these people should know about the issue and started taking care of the environment. By the way, where we have been moving and letting people know something about this, it seems that people never knew that we can generate electricity we can generate energy using waste. It sounds new. It's like a new idea, like a new technology. And because this idea is very innovative, so uptake is still very young, but we can see people questioning, trying to make sure that they can know what happens on the ground.
Thank you very much. It does seem foreign to some people, and I think it speaks to our dependency on government initiatives. Only we expect government to provide that service and tell us what to do. But it's also great that you've been doing this work and making people aware that there are some things that we are able to do. So thank you very much for that. Is there any more questions? We'll take one more question if you have a question, and then we'll move on. Ahia is doing other presentations as well on water and waste. Okay. So thank you. We are now going to move to water. Ahia, you're up again. Thank you to yourself and Lydia for the energy presentations. Asante and I think it's Shida, who also expressed their willingness to share their work. And I'm not sure if you are on this call. I will check in a minute. If you do have presentations, please get them ready to speak after Ahia, but we will listen to Ahia again. Let me just share your presentation. Sorry, I'm just opening up. Ahia, you need to tell me when to move the slides, because I can't see. There we go. Ahia, you can start your presentation. Are you there?
Hi, Zainab.
Hi.
Aya seems to have lost connectivity, fell off.
Oh no.
No, he's here.
Oh.
He seems to be moving up and down, but he's on mute. He's trying mute.
Ahia, if you are listening, you're doing the water presentation now. There we go. You unmuted. Are you ready? Hello? Ahia? Okay. While we are waiting for Ahia to answer, unfortunately, this network issue is real. Let us then move on to waste. Or let me check, is Asante or Shida, who indicated that they wanted to do a presentation on water, are they here? Are they on this call? Ahia, I see that you say that you are there, but we cannot hear you, and I'm not sure if I need to play the presentation. I don't see Asante and Shida here, so we might. Ahia, I can see you, but I can't hear you. You've lost your microphone connection. Is it only me? Chloe?
Hi,
Ahia, I
Zainab.
can't. Yeah, can you hear him?
No, I cannot.
Ahia, we can't hear you. Do you want to switch? Oh, he's just talking. Who's sharing screen? Somebody sharing screen that's not supposed to share screen.
It seems, I think it says it's Patrick M.
Patrick, please take off your screen share. Patrick. Oh. I hear we can't hear you, and I see that you are talking, but we can't hear you. We still can't hear you. Maybe try to take off your earphones and only speak. You have to take it off your phone, out of your phone.
Headset, or should I remove them?
There we go.
Are you getting me now?
Now I'm getting you, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
I was worried. Okay, so we'll move on to water. Sorry everyone for this delay.
Yeah, can you make it bigger so that I can see it?
I can, yeah.
So we are talking on the issue of water sources conservation in the city of Lilongwe. Like you see the map here, this is the city of Lilongwe, and it has population of 1,017,807. You see the area of the city, which is 7,027.80 kilometers square. Lilong has different types of source of water. And we can just mention two rivers that we have here. We have the Longwe and the Lintipe rivers. But we have thousands of wells, we have thousands of streams, and we have other different sources of water. Can you please move on to the next slide? So this is the integrated water resource management in the city or within the whole country. We have the Ministry of Water Development, and under there we have water boards. We have northern, central, and the southern water boards. And when we look at this, we have Lilong Water Board, we have Blantyre Water Board. Now we have a board and northern board. This water board. So this is an integrated water resources management system which is used nationwide to make water sources are being managed and people are getting the corridor of water they are looking for. Can you please move to the next slide? Water usage, please move back. Yeah. Source of water in Longwe. We get water from river. We get water from boreholes, wells, rainwater, dams, and tapped water. But in our communities or in our townships, we have different also types of source of water. Let us look at usage of water. Why do we need water, and why is it important to have water at your home, at your households, everywhere in the country? We use water for recreation activities. Those who are having recreation activities like swimming pools, moving to the lake, enjoyment, and the likes. Also, we use water for industrial activities like production of resources and products. These are a very important aspect that determines the living standards of our community. We also use our water for municipal activities. We use water in different activities in our towns, like restaurants, like public places, like public toilets, and the other places with offices of the government, private offices. They also need to use water. So use water for agricultural activities like irrigation, farming, and the other types of agriculture that are very important. And you know that without water, H2O, nothing can happen, and water, life cannot be even maintained. So we also use water for construction activities, infrastructure development. We use water when we are building our cities, when we are building our townships, when we are trying to construct new houses, decent houses. We use water in different activities, especially when we are constructing infrastructure of the nation. And we also use water for economic activities. We use water different departments to make sure that different economic activities are taking place, like production of resources, availability of services, good quality of. We use our water. So let's look at the issue of water scarcity. We have an issue of water scarcity in the Longwe district. You see how people are struggling to make ends meet, moving kilometers to have access to water, but they cannot even still found safe and potable water, which is a very big challenge to our communities. Can you please move to the other slide? You see this is the issue of water scarcity. People are trying to move to the rivers and trying to set irrigation activities there to make sure that they can get water. And you see some causes of water scarcity there. People doing agricultural activities near banks of along banks of rivers, trying to throw their waste in water sources. So as you do this, you are not even protecting the water source, because the landscape of this extreme change and the agricultural activity, because you have cut it down the trees, meaning there will be erosion, this soil will be taken to water itself, and the water will be polluted, and the people will be facing consequences. There are so many things that happens and that take place around. Can you please move to the next slide? These are human activities, people trying to cut trees alongside water banks, water sources banks, trying to make sure that they can cut a tree to use them for different activities. People trying to use following source of water. This is the long township, and you see how people are flocking in this river to make sure that they can use this kind of water to make sure that they can provide services to their customers. This is a place where people wash shoes, second-hand shoes, second-hand clothes before they go and sell them at the market. Can you please move to the other slide? Yeah, so we are really facing a very big challenge. As you can see on the picture, we have an issue of water pollution. Meaning poor water is very, very polluted at every and any unit of the day. You see how water is polluted. We have different types on water chemical, physical, biological. We have different types of pollutants that pollute water. These are also even deteriorating the quality of water we have and we can use to make sure that human being is living a healthy, safe and healthy life. So can you please move to the next bit? The issue of water pollution. And when water is being polluted, you can see people facing different problems. Water is polluted, people are dumping their waste into water sources. What happens afterwards? People are cutting trees along water sources. What happens forward? These are some of the issues that are really happening, and this is something that is not very important. You see, this is the waste, and there on the other picture, they are well floods because trees were cut down, soil erosion took place, and the water source, which is a river, have been polluted by waste, meaning that the landscape of the water has been deteriorated, and though the trees that could slow movement of water in the rivers and other water sources have been cut down. So we face these issues each and every time, and this is a very big issue which that is contributing to even poverty and hunger. So this is not something very good. So can you please move to the other slide? Water management, how the city is trying to make sure that water is managed at the community level. This is how water is being managed using water kiosks, using boreholes, using different types of water sources that are well managed to make sure that people can have access to safe and potable water. But it is something very, very true, but it's far away from the truth. But because people struggle each and every day to make sure that they have access to clean, safe and potable water. Can you please move to the next slide? So water treatment, this is how water is being treated. We have technologically sort of water treatment, which it uses chlorine and chlorination. You know that it's a chemical, and this chemical also pollute water. So people can even boil your water, but because water has been polluted by biological agents, and some of them even cannot die at the boiling point, meaning that there are also something which is going all along, and people can have that corridor of water they are looking for. We have the issue of filtration. People can try to filter the water they have drawn from the water source, and other do such kind of sedimentation. But it is something which is not working out because water has been polluted, and the cost of making that water of good quality is very higher than the cost of trying to protect, build, and conserve the water source and its environment. Can you please go to the next slide? So we have sewage systems here in the city, and you have to know and be assured that people in the city, those with good living standards, are the ones who have sewage systems that are well planned, that are well managed. But when you go to rural and suburban areas, you find that people are still facing the same problem. We don't have enough sewage system in the city so that people can manage to protect water sources, manage the waste, living up with their lives so that we can use what we have in a healthy and a safe way. This is a very big challenge. Can you please move to the other slide? Like water sources protection. So this is an initiative that we are taking up, and we are making sure that people should think back and start making sure that they are working hard, they are conserving the water sources. So most water sources have never been protected for years. We got rivers like Lintip and Lilongwe, and have been considered as a dumping site of waste, and has been targeted for deforestation, for irrigation and agricultural activities. So you see, this is the banks of the water sources we are having here. Can you please move to the other slide? So we are working on an awareness campaign. We're engaging women, youth, community leaders and members, faith leaders, people with disabilities in our campaign. So we are telling people not to destroy water sources, but to make sure that these water sources are really and really protected. We are also using social communication and behavior change in our community as a tool to disseminate knowledge and skills on how to protect water sources. So this is a very effective tool, is a very effective strategy, which is used to make sure that people are changing from their behaviors and start adopting new behaviors that are going to help them to make sure that they can conserve and protect water sources. So we are using this strategy, we are using this tool to reach people and to assure that their enabling factors, their predisposing factors, these are all factors that are very important, and these are deemed indeed to make sure that people can change from their behaviors, can change for good, and make sure that they protect the water sources. Can you please move to the next slide? So this is a part of the awareness campaign that we have been conducting up and down. Here I was delivering message to the community, to learners at a class, at a schools, to different people of different backgrounds, to make sure that this message is well disseminated and that this message is going to help people to take this initiative. So we are working very hard to make sure that people know the effects of water sources if they are destroyed, and how we are going to rebuild again our society environment so that we can live up a good health and in our standards. Can you please move to the other slide? So we are engaging a tree planting project. We are using the same waste products that have been turned into manure, and we are preparing garden nursery to make sure that the nursery is complete. We have trees, and we are going to plant the trees alongside water sources like rivers, lakes, and other water sources, so that we can make sure that we are working hand in hand with our community. We are working together to protect our water sources. We are also engaging people with activities such as waste management, so that they don't dump their waste in water sources. They know how to manage waste. They know how to recycle and reuse those waste products. Can you please move to the other slide? So we are working on this tree planting project, and we are meeting with people of different background and different stakeholders, including community leaders and faith leaders. We are planning to work with people of interest in conserving the environment. Maybe it might be or someone else, but we are well committed and we want to make this goal very effective. So we are also going to take up on an advocate. So we are going to engage people from the private sectors, institutions that are very important, so that we take on bills, policies, and regulations, so that we can look together, we can work together, and make sure that we are protecting our water sources in our communities and our society. Thank you very much.
Again, very, very informative. Thank you very much, Ahia. Let me just see who the next speaker is. Esther? Ahia will obviously come to questions afterwards, but Chloe is saying it's more comments than questions. Esther, I saw you on the call earlier. Are you still with us? You are there, you just need to unmute. Hi, Esther. Esther? Sure. Oh, what's happening today? Lots of network issues. Esther, please indicate if you can hear me or not. I do see you on the call. I hope you didn't move away from your device and that you're not hearing me. We are ready for your presentation. Is Sebia, oh, Esther can hear me, Esther, but I can't hear you. I'm not, you are on mute.
Zainab?
Hi, Sibia.
Yes, I'm around.
Okay,
Can
but
you hear me, Zainab?
yes, you are. Do you want to switch off your camera so we can maybe hear your voice clearer?
Is that okay?
That's much better. Sibia, thank you for connecting. Esther, we'll come back to you. Please indicate when you are ready after Sibia. And then we have Great Chunga. Please let me know in the chat box if you are able to make your presentation.
Shall I
I'm just opening up your presentation quickly, Sibia.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And I'm sharing. Can you see it, Sibia?
Yes, thank you, Zainab.
Okay.
At least you are going to do part of the job for me so much.
Sorry, can I just
everyone.
mute some people? I'm sorry for the disturbance. Okay, if can I just remind people, if you're not presenting, please mute your mic so that you're not distracting the presenter. You may go ahead, Sibia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zainab. Greetings, everyone, Fleet family, friends and relatives. Let me, before I go to the presentation on eco-footprinting, waste management, follow-up interventions, let me just give a bit of a context. I felt a bit unfair because others were given, I think, more than 3 minutes. I had done my presentation in the context of 3 to 5 minutes exactly, because I'm very compliant because of my background. Then the other context is that this presentation is also done in the context of a food and nutrition gardening. Are we together? Are we together? Hello?
Yes.
Are we together?
Yes, Sibia.
Thank you. We need to move together. This presentation of waste management, others could be having questions. Why on waste management? When we did on eco-justice, we did water, we did energy and waste management. And why are we settling on waste management? So this presentation is done in the context of a food and nutrition gardening, that is organic gardening, which we established after we attended, if you remember well, in September last year up to 17 November, we attended the SAFCEI webinar on food and nutrition gardening, where we were taught and prepared for establishing these gardens in our communities. So that's the other context and background of the presentation. Then the other context of the presentation is that this is giving a picture of the whole national context about waste management, but a community project context, we need to bear that in mind as we do the presentation. So basically, that is the background. Are we together?
We are, Sibia.
Are we together?
We are.
Thank you. So let's move to the next presentation. Sorry, to the next slide. Let's move to the next slide. Oh, thank you. It seems it's very clear. Is it clear, Zainab?
It is the illegal dumping of waste.
It is. Yes, thank you. I hope everyone is following.
Yes.
So as you can see, in the national context, though this one is at community project context, this is the biggest problem at national level. The issue of illegal dumping on waste, because people don't know how much they are losing in terms of the resources that they are losing through waste. So I just wanted to give a picture of what kind or level of ignorance people have in terms of waste. So they dump at illegal dump sites. So next slide, you can see that's a clinic. Next to the clinic, people go and dump, and it's a, you can see it's a road, the road where people pass by, and it's all polluted. There's a burning, polluting the environment, ignoring the resources and the wealth that is within waste in Zimbabwe. Let's move to the next slide. So after, because this presentation was prepared again in the context of interventions that we did as action plans after the workshop that we attended last month. So again, this is the context of this presentation. So after that, that workshop actually changed our mindset in terms of our view with regard to waste. We used to consider waste as a menace, waste as a big problem, waste is something that should be thrown out and go to refuse and fill the landfill. But after the training, we realized that waste is a resource than a menace, a big resource which can turn around even our economic status and empower us as a resource than a problem. So you realize that at a household level, we all produce a lot of waste. Waste is generated at different levels: industry, agriculture, hospital, institutions, everywhere. But at a household level, everyone is involved in waste generation. And they probably thrown all waste into the bin without even considering if anything can be recycled or reused for sustainability purposes. I know we have all done this at least once. However, this is not a good way of getting rid of waste. It will only end up in a landfill. This is very bad for the environment. So my advice is, before discarding waste, think twice. Are we together? Are we moving together?
We're moving, Sylvia.
Thank you. So the community waste interventions that we undertook.
Yes, you're moving together.
In addressing, thank you. The first and the foremost thing that we did, you realize that some of the interventions are follow up to see whether they are efficient after the training, and some are new after the training. So we established community pastors forum. I think I need a full screen sign up. Oh, okay, I was using two devices. Establishment of community pastors forum is a medium for education, communication, and information dissemination about community development issues, including waste management. I could have shared you very wonderful pictures where we came together as faith leaders. In our community, we have about 13 denominations. So heads of those denominations, meaning the pastors, the elders, the deacons, and the lay leaders came together. And we found a common ground space and common platform to discuss our community development issues, and that included waste. So you find that whatever we discuss and agree and decide to implement, it will be very easy, because as we preach in our churches, it will be very easy to change the mindset. So in the process, we have also, alongside this process, we have also developed a project called Community Mindset Developers, which is a form of preaching during congregation gathering. Community mindset developers. If the topic is about waste, someone will be preaching as part of the sermon or at a chosen Sunday. So then setting up, in addition to establishing of pastors forum, we set up community scrap collection and disposal points. Waste used to be everywhere. Small pieces of metals, you name it. But after that workshop, we set up community scrap collection disposal points. And these are made by people, where those people who no longer need scrap from their backyards, from their households, they just take their scrap there for sale for a small fee, not for free. So trucks would come and collect from that place. Then also establishment of collection points for recyclable waste. Then another intervention is the households contributing voluntarily towards cleaning equipment, such as sweeping brooms, protective clothing for the community cleaners, those that are made by the local authorities. So basically, those are some of the interventions that we embarked on after the training last month. Next slide, Zainab. Are we together?
We're together,
Yes.
Sebia.
Thank you. I spoke about the community engagement platforms. I think I explained that one. Where I said the Pastors Forum is a union of more than 13. I think we can go to the next slide. That one was just an explanation of how it works. Can move to the next slide. Yes. So you realize that those are meant scrap, we spoke about them, the scrap collection points. Then reuse of waste. I spoke about the food and nutrition garden. This is a community where we established
Sebia, you on mute? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You
Are we
can
together
start
now?
We are together, Sebia. You can start this one again.
Oh, good. As a follow-up intervention as well, we've set some unions, some groups where women and youth participate in projects using waste. Some will be doing bags, some will be doing nurseries using waste mainly from the kitchen and mainly from the household, like empties of rice, empties of cooking oil, juices, even beer, what have you, anything. So this is how it goes. So you realize that this nursery, those trees will find their space elsewhere, either at home, at a farming community, in the parks, in the recreational parks. It started very small, this project. It started at the backyard, but now it's being run at a community garden where people, the youth are paid a small token for bringing the empty bottles and even for cutting. We started cutting with knives. Now we are using sharp equipment, which takes a little time to prepare the empties. So this is both an income generating project and also an environmental enhancement project. So trees from the nurseries, they find their space being planted elsewhere, or they are bought for those who want to go and plant trees. And also, as a result of the reuse of waste and the establishment of nurseries in the food and nutrition gardening, because the food and nutrition gardening runs under thematic areas of food security, environmental conservation, and waste management came on board after these workshops as an overarching theme, because we realized that we cannot do food and nutrition gardening or environmental conservation without talking of waste, because a lot of waste will be generated either from the garden or from the household. So basically, that's how we came about the introduction of the nurseries using waste. And also, without extending the motivation that we got from, is it Kelly from Kenya? Hello, I saw her, she's
Yes.
there.
No,
Kelly
that's
from Kenya.
yeah.
It's Kelly.
Nelly is
Kelly.
on the call. Kelly isn't on the call.
All right. Yeah, that young lady, she actually inspired us. She showed
Oh,
us
it
how
is Nelly. I'm sorry. It is Nelly.
it's Nelly, yes.
Yes, she
She
is
showed
here.
us, yes, she showed us how we can use even tires to decorate our garden. And we have started collecting used tires, those that were thrown away. And we pay a very small amount of fee, like 50 bond. It's less than $1 yes for each tire to get a tire. So we are collecting them for our use in the food and nutrition garden so that we decorate our garden. So basically, that's how we are using waste. And you realize that we have also learned how to classify waste. When we generate waste within the household or even from agricultural waste, we classify. Before you do anything, you need to classify waste. Which one goes for recycling? Which one goes to waste? Which one can be reused? So before you do that, so that at the end of the day, very little substance goes into your bin for final waste. Running along the 4 R's: retain, reuse, recycle, and refuse. I recall the MC, our mother, I mean, presenting to us about the 4 R's: reuse, retain, refuse, and recycle. And we also use waste from our garden, from mulching, even from the grass that is cut, you see, so that you conserve water. You conserve water, you are not always watering your garden. We can go to the next slide. That's about mulching. Let's go to the next slide. Hello. Are we together?
Yes, we are together, Sebia. I'm at recycling waste now.
Yes, let's move to the, oh, I see. I'm using 2 devices. So that's
Okay.
about recycling waste. You see, like I mentioned that on the other part, the youth will be working on the nurseries using waste, bringing on board. Some will be cutting, and some will be filling the pockets, some will be planting. So on the other side, women, this is a recent project. You know where this is coming from? It's coming from, you know, all those old ancient records, the small boxes. There are some substances that will be inside. They pull them out until they become things to produce, to weave into those small bags, and they sell those bags. It's quite amazing. Yeah, so we can move to the next slide. That's about recycling.
Interventions?
Then, yes, as I conclude, because this was a merely 3 to 5 minutes presentation. Then at the same time, above all, we will be advocating for a clean and safe environment through Action Women's Fellowship, periodic participation in cleaning as multi-faith group at designated points. Women here in Zimbabwe will put in a monthly national cleanup campaign. So at each and every community, women gather for cleaning the environment. So that's another intervention, but that one is an ongoing. It started back in 2019, in December. It was introduced by the president on the 14th of December in Zimbabwe. And we also participating as Fleet Zimbabwe here. What we are advocating for as Fleet Zimbabwe is we are supposed to be running these things and spearheading the whole process. Then in terms of also contributing voluntarily, I think that one we talked about it in terms of contributing cleaning equipment, gloves, clothing for the community cleaners. Basically, that's that. Next slide as we conclude, Zainab. Then we realize that waste is, since it's something that is common in every household, we realize that it's a unifying factor within the community. So we need to be discussing about it always at every household, even in congregations everywhere. Currently, the EMA, we call it EMA, it's an agency, environmental management agency, is currently advocating issues of environment here in Zimbabwe, with support from like-minded civil society organizations. However, the medium and long-term desire is to see Fleet taking the lead. We are just preparing ourselves for this task. The advocate role about a clean and safe space for the whole nation and communities. That's our dream, the long term. Final slide, sign out. So we need to make it happen. Everyone has got a potential to make it happen. And realizing that we are all agents of God to take care of the environment and stewards of the environment, put to represent the agents of God in environmental stewardness. If you read Genesis, the beginning of Genesis, you will understand that we are taking it from the Bible, that we are supposed to take care of the environment, not to destroy, but to conserve it and maybe improve and keep it in the form that God desires, as God is agent of transformation. So there are women to show that women play a very instrumental role in environmental conservation. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening. I would have done more. I just did this in the context of a very little minutes and a smaller context. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sebia. That was very informative, as Precious has said. Nelly, I see you on the call. And yeah, just to acknowledge you, because Sebia has mentioned your name as well. Let me just check who's up next. Esther, are you on the call now? Esther, I see Gift has his hand up. Gift will just move to other presenters so we can finish the presentations quite quickly. Esther, are you on the call? And Gray, who indicated that they wanted to present. Esther and Gray. I see people are having very bad connection, so we will try and come back to them if we have time. Can I just thank you, Precious. Okay, Gift, you had a question. Let us go to questions then. Chloe, is there any other questions that I didn't see in the chat maybe?
Hi, Zainab. So far, no, just some comments here and there. Unless if someone wants to ask a question over like the mic, not too sure.
Okay, thank you. Gift, did you have a question? If you have a question or a comment, please put up your hand so I can see? No questions. Edward? Hello? Okay, gift.
Yeah, to my side, I just want to appreciate well presented. How are they considering the recyclable part of the environment with the production that hello?
Gift, your network is very bad, and so we couldn't. I know you said something about waste, a question on waste. Are you able to type your question in the chat box, because we can't hear you clearly? And then we'll move on. We'll try and answer your question if you give it to us in the chat box, and then we will move on to Edward, who has his hand up. Edward, you have your hand up. Please unmute for your question. Edward, you can go ahead. Okay, Edward, your connection is also bad. So we can't hear your question as well. If you want to put that in the chat box, please do, so we can get to answer that. Is there anyone else with question? Oh, sorry, I'm trying to. So I'm struggling to mute Edward. Okay, any other, Josiah? I see that your mic is that your mic is unmuted. Did you have a question? No. Okay, so there's no questions. Let me just check the chat box so we don't miss anything. We do have comments. Great work, Sebia. Wonderful when communities come together for action. Really inspiring from Kim. Well organized, concrete, and educative presentation. That's to Sebia. To those who are in remote areas, how can we disseminate information about waste management? Baston, that is from you. Where are you from? From Malawi. If there are others in Malawi, I think Ahia is in Malawi. Please, could I ask you to add your contact details in the chat box, so people in Malawi could get in contact with you and get involved more on your programs. Nelly, I see your mic is off. Did you want to make a contribution?
Hi.
Your mic went on again, Ellie. You have to unmute.
Hi. Not really. I don't have any comments.
Okay. I just saw you taking your mic off. One big challenge causing worries is electronic waste. How can this be managed in particular? I'm going to ask Kim if she has any comments on that question. And then others in other countries, please put your hand up if you know of any particular ways of managing that. And that is on electronic waste. Kim, I know Cape Town is very bad with it, or South Africa in a whole.
Yeah, electronic waste is very tricky because it normally needs a specialized disposal, which is definitely not the norm across across the world, and definitely across sub-Saharan Africa. So a lot of the components in it. So the first thing to do is to take the equipment apart. So if you've got an old cell phone or a or an old television, take the things apart, because parts of it can be recycled. The metal can definitely be recycled. The problem parts are, and there are a lot of very clever technicians all around Africa who take the little components and can use them to repair. So a lot of old computers are used to actually repair less old computers. There are programs where people take their computers to somebody who refurbishes them for schools. So there is a lot of reuse in electronic components as well, but the people who are doing that obviously understand what components can be reused. The real nasties are the batteries. And this is a global problem. We're shifting to renewable energy, but there's no international policy and definitely no national policies on how to manage the batteries. And the reason why batteries are a problem is because they have toxic metals in them. So they should definitely not be put into normal waste. They should be collected and put into waste that is areas that are lined, so that if the battery starts breaking down, the chemicals don't go into the groundwater because they're poisonous. Again, this is very tricky because if your local village doesn't have a hazardous waste disposal site, then what do? So you really need to get the faith leaders together to lobby the local authority to manage it better. You also need to go to the people who are supplying this equipment and take it back to them and say, you need to dispose of this correctly. The problem is they might just chuck it out the back door onto the local dump. So you actually need to put pressure on the local authorities, but you also need to put pressure onto the companies that are supplying these things. So in South Africa, we do have companies that take back the lights, the compact fluorescents and the old fluorescent tubes, because the mercury in them is poisonous. And we do have some companies that take back the batteries. But as I said, if you don't have any way to take them, you need to put them into containers where they cannot break down and the chemicals cannot get into the groundwater. So it's not easy. But don't put the whole computer or the whole television onto a dump site. Take it apart first and make sure that you can then recycle as many of the small components as possible. Maybe there's some technical colleges that can help as well, because that's also jobs for young people. And we're moving into a very technical age in terms of our technology. So if we can support young people to learn how to repair and to learn how to reuse components, that is definitely the way forward. So sorry, it wasn't like there is no perfect answer, because we haven't.
But it does give us an idea of what we can do ourselves.
Absolutely. So put pressure on the authorities and definitely put pressure on the big companies to take back the toxic parts that we can't put into our local community waste sites.
Thank you very much, Kim.
And you can make a media thing of it. Get everybody to bring the batteries to one center and make a whole media thing of it. Embarrass the companies that are producing these toxic wastes, these toxic products, and are not taking them back so that they can reclaim the metals and reuse it. The only way we're going to change the system is if we make big statements, and you can easily show how it's damaging the environment. So it is completely irresponsible and unethical.
Yeah, agree. Thank you, Kim. Oh, I see that there's some people are just falling off and coming on. So network is a big problem, which is also an energy problem. Edward's question is, and I'll give this to Sebia, on use of the 3 R's. The third one is not well applicable in our area in Malawi North. How can this be applicable? Sebia, do you have any advice for Malawi?
Hello, hello. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Sebia. Did you hear the question?
All right. Which are both
the third R?
Retention. I didn't give them in order. Retention, reuse, refuse, recycle. Which one?
Edward, which one? Edward, Joseph, you please recycle. Recycle. Edward says recycle.
Oh, okay. It depends on the substance. In each and every country, these 4 R's apply. It's either you keep the item for use as it is, or you just keep it for the sake of not throwing away. And you reuse as it is. Like I'll give for an example for a bottle of mayonnaise. You just clean it. When it's clean, you can put salt, you can put anything. You reused, you have not changed the shape of the product. Then we go to refuse. Those are the final substances that go to waste, final waste after the selection, after the thorough selection into these other 3 areas that we have spoken about. Then recycling. Before you classify into these other 3 areas, you realize that some of the things that do not under these 3 areas go into recycling. Okay, let me just give you a small example. Myself, I'm into food and nutrition gardening. I'll give you an example of shells of maize cobs. I'm giving you simple examples. Maize cobs, shells of groundnuts. You crush them together, maybe with maize, and you produce feed for what? For animals, ecosystem. You see how it works? That's recycling. You are changing the original shape into a totally new substance. Are we together?
Yeah. We are together. Thank you very much.
Let me give another example.
Yeah.
Shall I give another example?
Yes, please, Sebia.
Yes. Kim spoke about electrical waste. That one may be processed again, recycled, and produce new products. I'll give you for an example of plugs. They become defunct, they are no longer functioning well. From all the rooms, you remove them. Those stuff, the substance, not the electrical coils or what, they can go and be melted and produce brand new products. You see,
Yeah.
I've heard of a certain country. I can't mention it because I'm not so sure. There is no terminology like repair. It's not there in their country. They recycle. If something becomes malfunctioning, it goes for reprocessing, recycling, and produce a new product. There's no terminology like repairing. Repair business is not there in that country.
Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you. I see from Ricardo and Happy that they are talking about the lithium that could be reused for medical use. Unfortunately, we're not the experts in that, Ricardo, and how we could go about doing that. I don't think that we're the experts in that, but it is the scientists that need to look at that. Happy is saying data have it that during this corona era, clinical waste has doubled. Issues like disposable masks are at hike, both from clinical and household sites. That's very, very true. How should the clinical wastes be managed from a household level in account to COVID-19? I think it's the same thing. This is my perspective, and I think it's the same thing that Sebia has been saying about recycling. I do see that people use these clinical masks, but a cloth mask is actually better because it can be washed out and reused again. And you also get, sometimes you are not wearing any clothes, and you can actually make your own masks from clothes that you are not using. And so I think it's better than using the mask that these throwaways, the disposable ones. So we really have to think, and COVID is going to be here for a while, and the more the better we think about how to do that, the better it's going to be. Kim?
I just wanted to say, in terms of the lithium, the problem is that industry looks at economics and it doesn't look at the cost to the environment. So yes, they will eventually start collecting the lithium batteries, but right now they don't care because they say the collection costs are not worth their while, which means that they are not taking responsibility for a product that should not go into the environment. So that's where we need government intervention, and government intervention happens after communities push for change. Yeah. So it doesn't matter that, so it's highly recyclable, and we desperately going to need lithium because there are going to be more and more lithium batteries in the world, and there is only so much lithium in the ground. So we're going to have to keep on reusing it. And right now we're busy throwing it away because industry says it's cheaper for them just to mine new lithium than it is to collect batteries from different places spread across the world. That's irresponsible and unethical. Yeah. And it's the old economic model which needs to change to one of well-being for people and well-being of planet, not just profit.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. There's a more technical answer after my not so technical answer, so I hope that's fine with you. Is there any questions? I know that there was presentations still that we had to do, but unfortunately people's networks are so bad that they are unable to make those presentations, and they are falling off. I will, however, send the presentations that has been done, and the presentations that was supposed to be done, supposed to be done by others that have fallen off. I will share those with everyone for learning and sharing purposes. But I think that because we didn't have a break between in between the 2.5 hours that we're on this call, that we can finish a bit earlier. We were supposed to finish at 1, but I think that yeah, I think that we can close this meeting. Let me just check with Kim if there are any final words from you, Kim.
No, thank you, Zainab. I think the final word is that there is a lot of awareness, and it's about how to move to action. And that is where your faith community networks need to share ideas. And not just ideas, because you've presented a whole lot of ideas here, but we need more detail on how to actually implement the projects that you've identified here. So the two things for me are like the biodigesters that that Lydia and I are working on. There are low technology options, and if you could share those with us, people can immediately start doing something in their communities. And then also CBS showing us just what happens when community leaders, when faith leaders get together and really start to work for change. They create a whole community network for change. So yeah, those are the two really exciting things that came out for me, that there are technologies we can use, and we need communities to really pull together and realize that we can't wait for government and we can't wait for big business. We have to start doing things ourselves, and we can if we share the learning and share the experiences. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. That's my message for the end of today.
Thank you very much, Kim. I just saw Ahia's comment that he still has a presentation. Oh. Oops, sorry. Ahia, are you there? Ahia? Okay, the connection is difficult again. And I think struggling to get people on the call because of network is becoming an issue now, and we're losing a lot of people as well on this call. Thank you, Ahia. I will share your presentation on waste that you have missed with everyone. So, but I think that we should stop here because networks is just going crazy for everyone, and people can't hear and can't connect properly. So from my side, I would just like to say that it's been quite a journey for on the three meetings and the themes that we had before this, as well as the follow-up, which is this one. When we did it last year, we didn't have as much I can't say as much interest, but there were less interest that we did have this year. And I think a lot has to do with people getting used to Zoom, and SAFCEI opening it up to everyone to participate. Which obviously meant that more people are interested in kind of either changing behaviors or learning more, or wanted some kind of resource to be able to work within their communities. So we appreciate the fact that you come on these calls all the time, and I can see regulars already, although I haven't meet most of you through the fleet programs that we do, which is the Faith Leader Environmental Advocacy Training programs in a few of the countries that we work in. Most of you I can see already, your name is familiar because you are on these calls almost when we have them. at every event. So I'd like to thank you for that and for your interest within SAFCEI's work. So thank you very much. I'd like to just ask you that the work that we have been doing for the 4 sessions are very inspiring, from faith leaders, from Kim as our expert, and other faith leaders that are doing community work on these 3 themes and other work is very inspiring. And I'd like to ask you to connect with those in your country, in your specific country. Like Ahia is working in Malawi and they're doing amazing work, as we have seen. Connect with him so that you can either learn more or participate in the work that they are doing, and then reach out in your own communities as well. Because unfortunately, climate change is a hectic thing that we are all going through, and it's something that we all need to contribute to make sure that our earth is cleaner than it is now, and more safer for us, for our children, for our grandchildren, and the generations after that. And so I appeal to you to do whatever small project within the community by yourself individually, and then reaching out to community to start doing something. Yeah, so that's from me. Thank you very much. I'd like to volunteer my good friend Happy to close us with a prayer, please. Hello, Happy.
Hello,
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm fine, thank you. Could you close us with a prayer, please?
No problem, thank you. Shall we pray? Thank you, God Almighty, for this wonderful time. You have blessed us with information and protect us from all what we feared for. We thank you for the knowledge. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for everything. We pray to you to give us capacities to work out all this knowledge that you are giving us into a real world. We need your blessings. We need your strength. We need your bounties. In the mighty name of God, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Happy.
Welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for making this call. And we see you at the next event. You obviously get our newsletter, and yeah. And please don't forget that our AGM is on the 24th. Please register for that on our website. And Chloe, is there anything that I've missed?
Hi, Zainab. Yes, for
Yep.
the Women's Fleet coming up, if they know
Yes.
any female faith leaders who are interested in joining our fleet program, please feel free to.
Yes. So we will also send, sorry, more noise. I am coordinating a women's fleet to get women involved in environmental advocacy, and that training will take place on the 31st of August to the 2nd of September. And applications has gone out, an invitation to apply has gone out on the SAFCEI website, social media, and our email list. If you have not received the invitation, please email me and I will send you an application form. And that is only because it's Women's Month. That is only for women in the region. So no matter where you are, please apply. Sebia, you have your hand raised? Sebia? And I know Sebia is going to ask me that because she's in Fleet Zimbabwe group, if she can apply for the regional fleet group. Yes, Sebia, you can. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day further. And yeah, until next time. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.